Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me and allowing me to continue to be your daily advocate. If you're new here or you're not subscribed for any reason, please do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button. Thank you to all of you who have been watching and following me for so long. It truly means a lot, and I'm glad that I can be this person.
Right here, I wanted to ask a question of Chris Dixon, Katie Hawn, and Andrew Keys, and Joseph Lubin, and Vitalik Buterin, and I'm asking all of you to create a call of action here. Can we talk about the fees here for Ethereum? $12 to $141. That is not exactly a solution for the Web3 fourth industrial revolution. And by the way, do either one of you support, or all of you support, a public audit on the Ethereum initial coin offering? That question, I believe we should be asking all of these people every single day until we get an answer. Looking right here, China has digital renminbi, Nigeria has the Naira, and the Bahamas has a digital sand dollar. India says it plans to introduce a digital rupee in April. Is the United States next? Well, this article says that it's still 5 to 10 years away, but if we go down here to the bottom, I did want to share this little thought here, where it says, there's a concern that by moving slowly, the U.S. is letting other countries shape standards for national digital currencies, and the popularity of the dollar could be diminished. After all, for decades, it has been the world's primary global reserve currency, meaning many countries hold their reserves in U.S. dollars. But that's not all. I want to add this. And there are other countries that peg their dollar to the US dollar as well. So it's really a systemic thing to see the diminished use or power of the US dollar around the world, not just to the US. But Jerome Powell has made it clear he's in no hurry. Last year, a reporter asked the central banker whether he was worried the US was falling behind countries like China. He said, I think it's more important to do this right than to do it fast. And I think it's important to bring both elements to this. You have been working on this long enough, but maybe he's a little distracted because it shows here from Occupy the Fed movement, Federal Reserve Chair Powell traded during restricted FOMC blackout period, failed to disclose majority of trade dates. Apparently, they're saying he lied about Muni bond conflict. U.S. Senate rushes to confirmation vote on February 15th. Oh boy. You know, one has to wonder, did you pick up some XRP too there, Jerome? Did you do that? Because apparently this guy comes from the Nancy Pelosi School of Investing, right? Vote him out. Let's get him out. I know he's a Fed official, but let's put the political pressure on him to get him out. Ron Hammond right here. Here's a guy we like where he is right here, doing a lot of work and keeping all of us informed. The architect of the Token Taxonomy Act for Warren Davidson. We see here this week in Congress and crypto, busy week for DC, with a Tuesday hearing on stablecoins with the HFSC and Wednesday hearing on the CFTC's role in crypto. It says here also a lot of developments as well this week in legislation. Here's what to expect. Let's run through this quickly here because there's a lot here that is really forward-leaning about what may be coming in the very, very near term. The bigger hearing of the two is without a doubt the HFSC stablecoin hearing with Nellie Liang of the President Working Group. Nellie Liang is also from the Fed. This is the second full committee hearing on HFSC on crypto, and there will be a follow-up hearing in a Senate banking next week with Liang. It says here, the Senate AG hearing, while important, will not be as in-depth as this committee's first dive into crypto, and many of the senators are not too familiar with the subject matter. The important takeaway, though, will be how far Rostin Benham, the head of the CFTC, asserts his jurisdiction on crypto. Switching back to the HFSC, stablecoins have been the dominant topic of conversation for policymakers and staff for several months, and many offices are working on legislation about ahead of the hearing. Expect a few lawmakers to tease or introduce legislation during the hearing. It says here, one thing is clear, the President's Working Group recommendations to regulate stablecoins is not the direction Congress will follow, they say. There's already a few Dems that have pushed back and privately on the ideas of banking being the only ones who can issue stable coins, and Republicans apparently largely agree with them as well. It goes on to say, and check it out here, other topics will be a heavily focused is the hearing will be for charters, makeups of reserves, as well as their quality. It says here interoperability with other stable coins, CBDCs, prevention of a bank run, the role of the FSOC. Where have we heard that? FSOC, Financial Stability Oversight Council, we've been talking about for more than 2 years now. Differences between a money market fund and a preservation of privacy, which is extremely important to me. I know it is most of you. The elephant in the room, and while likely a big talking point on the Democratic side, is the fall of the Diem project. This project was massive concern for both sides, but the D's in the particular, it says here there will be a decent amount of analogies as to avoiding another Diem situation. Behind the scenes, there's a fierce lobbying battle between the banks and fintech crypto groups. This is one of the first true head-to-head battles, as both sides understand that if there is anything to be done legislatively this year in crypto, it will be stablecoins. Remember that phrase. Remember that phrase. If something gets done on the legislative side this year, it'll be towards stablecoins. And remember this thought. World Bank refers to XLM and XRP as stablecoins. We'll come back to that. Nellie Liang from the Fed and the President Working Group has been well received by both sides in terms of her subject matter expertise and straight line approach. While she is representing the views of the President's Working Group, there is a sense of optimism from both sides of the aisle that there is a middle ground here for legislation. With all that said, those familiar with DC understand that in-depth full committee hearings such as the HFSC stablecoin one typically signal that legislation is in the works and a markup is likely coming. This is when the committee votes to send a bill to the general body. In addition, we see here Rep. Josh G. Bill expect a few more bills to be announced as finished nearing completion, some partisan, others bipartisan. The likely goal will be that both sides can come together, work with their Senate counterparts, and get a bill across the finish line. Now listen, this next couple sections here, it says this is still, though, just the second full committee hearing on crypto in HFSC. If they continue to follow the Robinhood hearing playbook, then that means a third and final hearing could be coming with legislation being the end result. We're getting close, then, is what he's saying. President Working Group doesn't write the rules, Congress does. So remember that thought too here. As we go into these clips, we're about to hear from Charles Gasparino and Fox on the latest about XRP potentially becoming a security. So stay with us here. Time is running out, though. President Working Group said absent urgently needed legislation, the agencies can apply their existing authorities and consider FSOC authorities, but we believe legislation is the best way to address prudential regulatory gaps. Congress agrees, so they can get it done, or so can they get it done. Again, FSOC being cited, ladies and gentlemen, because I've told you many times, they can draft regulations for the market regulators, SEC and CFTC, and do not need Congress's approval to do so. Don't forget that as we move forward today. While I'm confident we'll be seeing bipartisan agreement on many issues around stablecoins, some questions around FSOC, who can issue stablecoins and charters, are still being ironed out behind the scenes. Stay tuned tomorrow as I break down which members of Congress to watch for. Ron, thank you. And again, some questions around FSOC, who can issue stable coins and charters, are still being ironed out. Let's move forward here today. This is from Charles Gasparino talking about John Deaton here and about how we could see next out of Ripple is price jumps, is what we could see. And he talks about two very important things here, one of which is basically the unsealed 3 sets of documents igniting curiosity in the XRP community, which basically yielded nothing. He said they were barely relevant. And it says here the new evidence included the Brad Garlinghouse deposition email thread, as we know, and Chris Larson's thread. Deaton suggests that it would be near impossible to prove any correlation between XRP price and public announcements made by Ripple. The lawyer also added that the SEC must also prove Garlinghouse and Larson sold their cross-border remittance token in the United States, which I believe all of us already know they did not. So it really gets to be a tough climb for the SEC, doesn't it? But here's a little fun fact. This is from Stephan Hubert right here. And he says, hey, isn't that so cute that the IMF to offer Ripple data hosting on their website for their paper presentations? When you click the imf.org on this media file, it takes you exactly to this document, which is right here. Isn't that interesting? The IMF hosted this from 2018. It's been up there, and it just explains how well Ripple and XRP works and the whole system. Isn't that something, right? Pretty amazing. Now, why do you suppose the IMF has that on there? Why do you suppose the World Bank is calling it a stable coin? Well, let's take a look at this. This is Charles Gasparino, and he said yesterday, per Eleanor Tarrant, it says here, people associated with the SEC case against Ripple believe case will stretch into the summer, but worry that the pending White House report on crypto could negatively impact Ripple's case by possibly classifying XRP as a security more at 130. Well, we have all of that. Let's talk about this. And by the way, when we do, let's talk about this notion here, because this is pretty interesting too. Jeremy Hogan shared, and we shout out to Jeremy Hogan here, President cannot take possession of private property under implied powers where Congress has expressly denied such takings. And here, under securities law, Congress has expressly defined what a security is. So he's citing a case here, which is Youngston Sheet and Tube versus Sawyer, which states that, and we'll have to see. He says there's a case, not 100% sure, he cites the case here, that says that would be unconstitutional for them to take this possession of XRP in the manner that, of direct manner. Justice Jackson laid out in his opinion, and I don't think that would stand, even though I don't think that's what is about to happen. We'll see. I don't either, Jeremy. And look, I'm not a lawyer, and I know you are, but one of my thoughts is we're going to get to this. I have a few questions at the end of this, but right now we want to hear what we do know from Charles Gasparino about the latest and breaking news about XRP possibly becoming a security. Replace SWIFT? Let's take a listen here.
David, another crypto to look at, and I think this is particularly important one to look at because it says a lot about where crypto regulation is going, is the crypto known as XRP. It was created by the founders of Ripple. Ripple is a blockchain system that essentially allows you to do cross-border payments seamlessly, fast. It could be a replacing the SWIFT system that we have now that you use regular currency. So this is very interesting. The SEC has sued Ripple, saying that it issued a security in XRP to pay for the build out of Ripple that was not registered with the SEC. That case is huge. And here's what's interesting today. XRP is ripping, to coin a phrase here. And, it's up like, it's up like 20% today. No one can really figure out why, other than this case is moving forward. John Deaton, a lawyer associated with the case, tweeted some stuff out about the discovery that it really didn't hold much. There's really not much there. So I think what's going on here is you see the market betting on this case. I will say this, David, if the SEC loses the XRP case, you could see XRP rip. You can also see Bitcoin rip, because that'll be an indication to the markets that the government cannot regulate broadly the crypto business. So just keep an eye on this. The other thing to keep an eye on, of course, is a White House report on cryptos. How they should be regulated.
And so I believe he's referencing really quickly right there the President's Working Group, the White House report. He didn't say executive order, so let's understand that. Listen to what he says here.
That's coming out, and we keep hearing imminently. That could have an impact on crypto prices, particularly XRP. If the government broadly says Bitcoin is okay as a security, doesn't need to be registered, we give it our blessing, but nothing else is, you could see other cryptos like Ether, XRP fall if that's the case. And some people are suggesting that could be the case. So a lot of stuff going on here. If you're looking to trade crypto, buyer beware. There's all sorts of conflicting stuff out there, and no one has a clue exactly exactly what the government is going to do with this new report, but it should have some impact on prices, we're hearing.
There it is. So this report could certainly inform the market about the approach that the White House believes we should be taking collectively as the government's approach towards cryptocurrencies. We are excited to get that report. Now here is part one here, and shout out to DAI for all these quick clips we got here. Take a listen to this as he's on Liz Clayman on this clip.
Well, first it was Bitcoin has regained the 42,000 level. Now look at it. Bitcoin has regained 44,000 over the last couple of hours. We're at 44,301. Crypto price action all over the place is looking good. Green arrows across the board. We do have US Ethereum. There it is, up 7.5% to 3180, back above 3,000, right? Finally, and XRP up 24% this afternoon. The spikes come ahead of the release of the White House's executive order on cryptocurrency that's set to come out this week, Charlie. I mean, we thought it was going to be maybe last week, but why is a rally tied to something like this?
It's like that Shakespearean sonnet.
Now let me just go back really quickly to hear what she says here.
24% this afternoon. The spikes come ahead of the release of the White House's executive order on cryptocurrency that's set to come out this week, Charlie. I mean, we thought it was going to be maybe last week.
So she's referencing the executive order. So now we're not sure, are we talking about the executive order dropping or the president's working group report, which will inform an executive order, right? So we're not quite sure. Keep listening.
But why is a rally tied to something like this?
It's like that Shakespearean sonnet, I think it was, tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in at this petty pace. I'm just showing off a little here, Lizzie. But listen, I would say
gods that don't amaze me.
Yes. I would say this to the average person that holds crypto, that wants to trade. This is a very volatile trading market, as you know. That's no news. There's no news there. And some of this stuff seems to be trading irrationally. Here's what I think is happening, based on speaking with traders, talking with people that are connected to the XRP Ripple versus SEC case, is that people are trying to game plan this report. This report could be very good for Bitcoin. It may just say Bitcoin is an established cryptocurrency, and there may be no effort essentially to rein in Bitcoin, which is why you might see Bitcoin up significantly. The other ones are, that's the question mark. And I'll tell you, I speak with people close to the case at Ripple. They're telling me that the case against them, it's the SEC essentially saying that XRP, a cryptocurrency that was used to finance the Ripple infrastructure, that was an unregistered security. That case could take a big hit here in this report, depending on what the report said. If the report says that Bitcoin is fine, but these other ones are questionable, well then, that could have an impact. And so you have to wait and see, and everybody's trading.
Okay, now let me quickly set up the next clip here, which is another 50 seconds here. Check it out.
XRP is not a secure on this thing. The Ripple case, people are saying that this thing could be done this year. Just by some of the judges' motions, what the courts are allowing, net Ripple is coming out pretty good in terms of discovery. Not perfect, but they got a lot of stuff out of the SEC that the SEC wanted to try to essentially keep confidential. And this is stuff that Ripple is trying to use to show that there's a double standard, that Ethereum was giving a free pass, and able to allow them to do security sales and not be declared, and not have Ether, its cryptocurrency, declared as security. So remember, game planning going on here right now. This report is going to be interesting, and a lot of people think it could have an impact on the case, particularly if it comes out where it says that XRP is not a security. I want to get back to something that's happening on Wednesday, Liz. Gigi Sohns on this thing.
Okay, so there we know. And now I wanted to, I'm going to ask Charles Gasparino about this on Twitter. I'm going to tag him and see if we can get clarity on this, because I think it's very, very important. He is using the word report. So I'm wondering if he's referencing the White House's President's Working Group report, which may inform the ultimate dropping of the executive order. That's I mean, that's kind of where my head is right now, but we need clarity on that, and I'm going to ask them for that today, and I appreciate them sharing the news. Now, I got some questions for you. Before I give them to you, and I am excited to hear your answers, look at the bullishness of Ripple right here. 2022 is going to be a big year for crypto. Ripple leadership predicts crypto payments to dramatically grow, which they have been in the start of this year and certainly were at the middle and end of 21. NFTs to go mainstream. Regulators to step up the onset of multi-chains and chains future. Now, I tell you, this is an extremely bullish and positive outlook from Ripple, understanding that they have this case hanging all over their head. Now, let me get back to the questions here. Remember the comments in the thread from Ron Hammond. The FSOC is very real, the regulatory agency connected to the Treasury. So is OFAC, right? Could we see the FSOC draft regulations that could make it clear what agencies actually are going to regulate crypto? Remember, they don't need congressional approval to do so. Could that drafting of these regulations inform the market that the majority of crypto are going to be classified as digital asset securities, giving Gary Gensler the jurisdiction he has sought since his time at the SEC? And could the SEC case become the saving grace of XRP, with the judge giving a legal decision or ruling that would actually allow XRP to escape the digital asset security designation that potentially we could get from either an executive order classification for assets being released or drafting of regulations by the FSOC and Treasury that provide that information to the market. Now, what I want to be clear of is, in this thought, I'm not suggesting that one asset will get clarity. What I'm suggesting is that some kind of framework be released that provides the clarity and information to the market that if your token is ABC, then you are this kind of a token. If your token does DEF and has these properties, then it is this kind of token, and so on and so on, where it would provide, like the Token Taxonomy Act, right? Now, and obviously the Token Taxonomy Act is just it's just an example of the kind of clarity that we need for this market. Not suggesting that FSOC would release the Token Taxonomy Act. That would have to be passed through Congress. But now, could that clarity or legal judgment from the case of the SEC versus Ripple and over XRP be the saving grace in the fact that it gets some kind of legal decision that doesn't allow it to be classified as a security? And look, we do not know the answer to these things or how this is quite going to shake out. And maybe it ends up being a security. I mean, we have entertained all sides of this notion of whether it could be or couldn't be, and we have found paths for XRP to work in both designated manners. What we don't know is that if XRP becomes a security, how does it impact retail investors? Is it just as simple as we can't get it anymore and you have to be an accredited investor or an institution to be able to get it from now on? And would we be forced to go through a broker instead of a crypto exchange to get it? And if so, doesn't that take the asset off of the crypto exchanges and put it in the bank's hands? These are all things to ponder that are important points. I also think some of them are extremely valid to consider.
So enjoy your day, everybody. I'm always here for you. Leave any comments or questions below, and be sure to subscribe. But thanks, everybody. I really appreciate you. Enjoy your day, and I always have your back. So thanks so much, everybody.